what would prompt the body to develop cancer cells?
That's a very good question. It's basically, if you take it back to the cellular level, you'll find that every cancer cell is a cell that has been deprived of oxygen.
Deprived of oxygen,
Yes.
so then it's anaerobic?
It becomes partially anaerobic to begin with, and eventually it can be totally anaerobic.
Okay.
That means once a cell is deprived of 35% of its oxygen requirements, the cell will go through a biochemical change. And that would include that the cell, instead of using oxygen to metabolize glucose, which is the principal nutrient for every cell. So instead of metabolizing it the normal way using oxygen, the body will, or the cells have to ferment the glucose, the sugar.
Oh, really?
And so a cell that is fermenting glucose will produce substances like lactic acid. That is a very, very caustic acid that changes or attacks the nucleus of the cells, and it exposes the DNA to damages that are requiring it to adjust to a new style of functioning that has to learn to live without oxygen or less oxygen. And so when that is sort of happening for a number of cells, you would eventually develop a tumor. But tumors don't appear, they don't show up unless you already have cancer for at least 3 to 5 years. So you don't notice them. You may have about 2 billion cancer cells in the body and you don't notice that. And it's only when you have like 3 billion cells, suddenly you may have a little speck of a tumor somewhere and the doctor say, oh, we found a cancer, let's get rid of it.
All right.
And they don't get rid of the 2 billion cancer cells that are still lurking in different parts of the body. If they become 3 billion in another part of the body, they call it metastases, or the cancer has spread from here to there, even though they said we got it all.
Okay, so you're saying what would prompt the body to develop cancer cells would be lack of oxygen. Because you say there are healthy cells that have become mutated.
Yes, so they're basically healthy cells that used to be nourished, get enough oxygen, enough nutrients, enough glucose, enough of everything. Now, once you cut them off, the proper oxygenation, oxygen supply, and that happens because of suffocation. So there's a buildup of metabolic waste products such as uric acid, urea, ammonia, lactic acid in the cell environment, or dead cells that haven't been removed. Every day the body turns over 30 billion cells, so you have to get rid of 30 billion. You have to get rid of the 30 billion dead cells. These are corpses that, if they are not removed, they are being attacked either by bacteria or eventually fungi when they're dead, or if they are damaged cells and a bacteria attack them, and fungi attack the dead cells. So then you have a toxin produced from those things, mycotoxins. There could be nitrosamines, which are carcinogens. So nitrosamines are the most powerful carcinogens the human body can produce when there's decay going on, when you decompose your own body. So when that happens, the irritation is enormous to the cells. So they get bombarded with poisons, and in order to learn to absorb them and to accommodate them in a safe environment away from the bloodstream, the body will develop tumor cells or cancerous cells, so that the body is safe. So it prevents.
That's the purpose of a tumor.
That's why it's a survival mechanism. To contain the poisons and the toxins that are produced by the congested cells that can no longer breathe enough oxygen, that can no longer metabolize the way they are designed to. And so they are genetically changing to be able to be capable of living in that toxic environment and pull out the poisons from that environment, which otherwise would enter the bloodstream and cause septic shock, and the person would die very, very quickly.
All right.
So that's why cancer is a survival mechanism. It's not a disease in itself. It's the body working with the tumor cells and in the cancer to prevent a disastrous outcome of the toxicity that has arisen.
Wow, you put that very well. That makes me understand what you're saying. That it's not this malignant thing like you're saying, this tumor, it's actually survival.
Yes, the tumor is only like the tip of the iceberg.
Okay.
And you cannot see the iceberg underneath. So what medicine does is says, oh, there's a tumor, the tip of the iceberg. Let's chop it off. Let's cut it out. Let's get rid of a breast. And then we got it all. And I now find that if you cut out one breast, you develop cancer on the other one too. And how does it happen? Well, they got all the cancer out there. So why does this one develop it too? So it's basically a system in the body that has not received enough attention. That is the lymphatic system. And that is the garbage removal system that drains away the daily produced metabolic waste products and the dead cell material that is all supposed to be carried away by the lymphatic system. You clog up the lymphatic system, you eventually get a buildup of those potentially toxic materials that then suffocate the cells by filling the connective tissue, which is the fluid surrounding the cells, with toxins and waste matter. And then the cells can no longer breathe enough oxygen, and then you have the scenario that I described earlier.
Thank you for that information.